But there's another 1980s classic that is even more delicious, just as enduring, and for many people, especially in the US, entirely unknown. Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon. Bottle 119 is Marie Brizard Blackberry Liqueur. I've already told the story of the Marie Brizard brand in bottle 69, Marie Brizard Triple Sec. Or stories, I should say. Go check out that episode to see how the brand's origin story changed many times through its history. Instead of talking about the makers of this bottle, I'm going to talk about what's inside of it and its connection to an incredibly popular classic cocktail that many people have never heard of. My English labeled bottle says Blackberry Liqueur, but in French it usually goes by another name, Creme de Mure. Lots of French liqueurs have the word creme in their name, like creme de cacao, creme de menthe, and creme de pêche. And although many people get confused by the word creme, there's no dairy involved, just sugar and lots of it. A creme de represents the highest grade and highest sweetness level of liqueur under EU law. The name comes from creme de la creme, best of the best. Based on the tax strip, my tiny bottle of Blackberry Liqueur is from between 1983 and 1985. The cocktail is also a product of the 80s. This is a little surprising. In my cocktail classes, I call the 1980s the dark ages of cocktails. The Cosmopolitan is one of the few classics to come out of that decade, and it can be a great drink when made well. I'm a big fan of Toby Cecchini's original recipe. But there's another 1980s classic that is even more delicious, just as enduring, and for many people, especially in the US, entirely unknown. It's called the Bramble, and it's made from gin, lemon juice, and simple syrup, served over crushed ice with creme de mure gently poured over the top and a couple berries for garnish. Now, if you're in the United Kingdom, you're probably thinking, what do you mean everybody doesn't know about the Bramble? It's on every cocktail menu everywhere. And it is, if you're in the UK. That's where the drink was invented and where it largely stayed in the 40 years since its creation. Famed British bartender Dick Bradsell created it in honor of childhood memories of picking and eating blackberries on the Isle of Wight. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he also created the espresso martini, which I talked about while tasting coffee liqueurs with his daughter Bea Bradsell. It's another 1980s drink that, like the Bramble, also spent a bunch of time being wildly popular in its home country and mostly unknown outside. It was only a few years ago when the espresso martini completely conquered the world. The Bramble has made a few attempts to follow in its footsteps. One was in 2007 when it appeared on the now-defunct Thinking Bartender blog and got picked up by Portland bartender Jeffrey Morgenthaler. The cocktail forum on Eaglet also talked about it in 2007, inspired by the Ramble cocktail at New York City bar Death & Co. The existence of the Ramble provides a big clue as to why the Bramble has had such a hard time breaking out. The Ramble didn't use creme de mure or blackberry liqueur or any liqueur at all. It just muddled up some raspberries and put those on top. Because while creme de mure has been made since the 1800s, it's really just not a common bar ingredient in the US. In 2010, the New York Times Magazine published a case study of the Bramble written by that same Toby Cecchini, whose Cosmo recipe I mentioned above. It opens with the statement, "Years ago, I wrote that the Bramble cocktail would be the next big thing to hit these shores. I keep waiting to be right." And I feel like here in 2025, we're still waiting, all because of that pesky blackberry liqueur. Based on my experience with other fruit liqueurs in Grandma's collection, this one probably is no longer bringing the bright punch of fruitiness that a Bramble is looking for. But it might just end up in one anyway, after I find the right person to taste it with me. Do you know that person? Send them this episode, or just share it with your friends and encourage them to subscribe to my channel. I'd love to share these stories with even more folks. I'd also love to hear from you, so leave a comment below or head over to mytinybottles.com or find me on social media and leave a comment. You'll find me at TammyLC on Blue Sky and at MyTinyBottles on Instagram and Facebook. Cheers!